וכמובן מי שלא נרשם, תרצה נמצאת כאן ותרשמו אצלה בהפסקה. זהו, שחר, בבקשה.
So, in the name of all those who are present here and those who are not, we thought how can we show a token of our appreciation. Actually, we're so happy that you came, and really show an example of how a teacher takes care of his students or disciples by really doing everything you can to support us during the more difficult times of the pandemic, and even now as you just say, I'm coming, and you came, you took the responsibility, and you really took lots of effort. I mean, people, I don't know how many of you know how much effort Anila put in order to come here. And it wasn't easy. So I thought, how can we show our appreciation? Of course, mainly is the practice of the Dharma, but then also something more substantial. So we gave a donation in your name to the Israeli Animal Hospital, which is in the safari. So they also very nice pictures here.
It's great.
Yeah. And also a donation to His Holiness the Dalai Lama's Trust for with dedication for your long life and good health.
Thank you. Wow.
So
What a good idea.
Yeah, so this is also I think this is like about 20 years since your first visit to Israel.
Yeah, 22.
22 since first visit.
Yeah, it was in 2000.
Whoa. Yeah. So
This man was already there.
so then 22 years till now and 52 years to go. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Shaka. Wow. Thank you so much. Actually, now I wanted to have the same speech a little bit as Shaka just did by saying thank you. But of course, I don't have a present except for Swiss chocolate that you'll get yours tomorrow. But I don't. This is really a wonderful idea. But also, I really would like to thank Shachar and Gila and Noah and all these others from the Dharma Friends who, during these 2 difficult years, who came up very quickly with an idea how to be able to offer the Dharma continuously, and also Nitzan for the Shantideva group also, and David who got very much involved in the 16 guidelines also, and it's part of the Dharma Friends. That is this mixing also that we do whatever we can. And I really appreciate it very much. Although at the beginning I have to say, that I'm always honest and I'm not realized. So when the pandemic came and Switzerland also locked down, so I was kind of thinking, oh wow, great, I can go on holiday. I wasn't afraid at all of lockdown. And so Leora came and called and said, oh, can you do something on Zoom? Now, I couldn't lie because I knew Zoom and I had done things on Zoom before. So I couldn't say, oh, no, I'm too old, this is technology, my computer is not suited, blah, 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 because I shouldn't lie. Yeah. So then I said, yeah. And so she said, can you do something regular? And I thought, so I hope it didn't come across too much in the Wednesday evenings. But no, then I started and I got used to it. And, I get so much out of these Wednesday evenings because, as I said, I think last Wednesday, we do the Bodhicharya Vatara on Zoom every Wednesday evening. And, these words of Shantideva, I mean, if you're practicing, they speak so much to you. They're so practical, especially the 7th chapter that we're doing now. So thank you very much for making me upset and asking me to do something on Zoom. Because Zoom. Then also, of course, the Swiss group came and said, oh, if you do something for them, can you please also do something for us? So how can I say no? So I said, yes, I will. And so I spent the last 2 years a lot in front of the TV or of the computer, which is not a problem. because already as a child I was a TV junkie. So I have absolutely no problem looking at the screen. Me, yeah, whatever is there. So that was not the problem. But still, I kind of missed, or let's say, Zoom is very practical because you don't have to move from it. It's very good for the environment. That's probably the only thing that is really, not the only thing that's really good. You have access to so many teachings, and it's very comfortable. But it doesn't pay, or it doesn't, the joy of meeting each other. So this is what I would like you to be with your emotions today and your sensations. Maybe remember when you came in and you saw this person and that person and that person that you might have seen on Zoom. But was it the same? Or was it different? So try to be with these feelings, because otherwise, you see, Zoom is very convenient and we might just get used to it. We'll say, oh, then I don't need to go there and all this. But it doesn't, we have to see the joy of meeting each other personally so that we can let go of the convenience of staying home. But what also, because we don't know where the world is going, so what this day is also about is to give you methods, and this is why I chose Tong, that if you are in lockdown and you start to feel lonely or afraid or, that methods that you can do in order to open up and still feel connected to the world. So maybe, I haven't made a plan. Also, I have to say, because I keep saying, hey, guys, look, I don't really want to teach anymore because I don't know. I don't have access to my brain properly anymore. I have, many people have, but you're not teaching, you see? So it's like, if I can just be a private person, I have absolutely no problem with this. I go to the shop, I knew what I want, I'm there, I have no idea. I don't have a problem with this one. Is there a problem? I know you're just doing it. Or did you want to say something? Yeah. Okay. So if but I feel responsible because Buddha Dharma is something serious. It's not something just that you take lightly. And I do take it lightly all the time, actually, and even now even more. And I also said I have vivid fantasy. I can come up with all kinds of ideas that sounds like Dharma, but maybe it's not. So then I would rather not to do serious teachings. Don't make these faces. Come on. It's okay. It's impermanent. And then also to make some space for the young people. We have wonderful young teachers. People tell me, oh, we don't know them. Where are they? Well, you have to look for them. Yeah. So, there's the FPMT is doing a lot of study programs. And then they say, yeah, but they don't have your experience. No, but how can they have my experience? They're like 20, 30 years old. I'm 72. It's like, oh, what do you expect? So a little bit like this. But maybe days like this we can still do, because this day today, for me, is more about you guys meeting personally than me giving you a teaching. I'm sorry to say that. But that's what it is, because I think it is so important. But also, as I said, to give you some methods so that you can, because who knows when the next lockdown will be. So I give you the methods, and then maybe after lunch also we share a little bit with each other what we did in these 2 years, and what helped, what didn't help, and resolutions maybe that we made. Yeah, so I think everybody who is here, and most of you I know your faces, you have a spiritual practice, and I have to say, most of the people that I know, all of them actually, that I know personally and we discussed it, none of them came up with, I felt lonely and depressed and it was terrible. Everybody said, seeing the suffering of others, like financial problems, loneliness, depression, violence in the families, that was probably the worst. When dad has to work, mom has to work, the kids are at home, everybody's screaming, and it's like, nowhere to escape. And so, that people with the spiritual practice, that we suffered because we saw the suffering of others, but then we did Tong. when we heard the neighbors kind of fighting with each other, or the kids screaming, or the old lady kind of being depressed. I was in the street after the lockdown. At the beginning, it was, I don't know how it was in Israel, but at the beginning in Switzerland, it was kind of, it was like everybody, all this over 65-year-olds, they have to stay at home. If you dare to go out, somebody young would cough into your face and say, you should stay home, Yeah, so, but otherwise, then very quickly we had a lot of freedom. We could move around in the country wherever we wanted. So compared to other countries, I think it was quite good. But then after this maybe first month of over 65-year-old people not allowed out of the house, I met an old lady in the street and she said, can I talk to you? I said, of course you can talk to me. She said, because for 1 month or so, I had to eat alone every day. Now me, of course, having been in India 20 years, I felt like saying, oh, come on, at least you have something in your plate. What are you complaining about? I mean, this would be the way when you have mind training, this would be the way to think. And not, oh, poor me, nobody's there. And then you have no chance of falling into this kind of loneliness thing. Because why? Because when you look at your food, and it should be maybe something that is already cold. Because the reflection kind of takes a long time. You look into your food and you try to find out how many beings are involved to make it just for you so that you can eat it. There's no chance you will feel lonely anymore. There are so many, just you can start with being in a house and then maybe we do this meditation a little bit. It's not what I planned, but already before I never planned and now it's even worse. So let's do a reflection on this one. Wait, has everybody brought some food for me? You didn't? You did, okay. So everybody brought some food with you? Okay, so you visualize that food for the reflection. So first you make yourself feel very comfortable, but with a straight back if possible, with a lot of self-confidence. Maybe if we could give you something for your knees to support, or are you comfortable like this? Yeah? Or a bit higher. There's 2 more red cushions there. Maybe are these it? Can you give this young man?
I'm just have an injury, so
Oh, you have an injury. Okay, but put it underneath your. Okay, so that you feel comfortable. I hope I didn't make you feel embarrassed. Okay. Okay. Okay, so as we said before, just relax, connect with your body as we usually do when we do these kind of things, so you come into the present. It's the present that counts, isn't it? That's the only place where we can live, is in the present. We spend so much time in the future and the past. Feel the body, how it makes contact with either the chair or the cushion or the floor. Some people are coming in, that has nothing to do with you, so just let them come in, find their place, so that they can be relaxed. Maybe you can go there. Okay, here. And then just to feel, some kind of gratitude to your body that it held up these last 2 years, 2.5 years. Say thank you to the body that we only pay attention to when it's not doing so well. That we were able to come here, to sit, either in a chair or on the floor. to feel your breath going in and out. And you see, maybe we remember now it's not so much anymore, but when that thing started with the COVID, people couldn't breathe anymore. And we never really appreciated being able to breathe freely. So try to appreciate that, to feel the air coming in and out, even if it's not fresh air or whatever. Not to be so demanding, not always finding fault in something, but to see the good things, the good sides. So we can train our brain to be more concentrated on the goodness. I can breathe. How wonderful. Maybe you have images coming up of the hospitals with people on these incubators. Could have been all of us, because even young people had to go on these machines. Some people died. And then remember or connect with the feeling when you started to see your friends. The people that maybe you had seen on Zoom but not in person. To see the difference. To feel our heart that is connected, that needs connection. And to experience or to feel some gratitude for those people that allow us to like them. We're not such wonderful, great people, isn't it? But there are people in this world that allow us to come near them, to hug them, to touch them, to like them, to open up our hearts towards them, and to receive their love, their connection. So just be with these sensations, please. Allow them, even if you have tears in your eyes coming up, it's okay. It was a difficult 2 years or 2.5 years. It's okay, we can recognize that. Whether it will go back to what we call normal, we don't know. But as I said, it's now that counts. Now we're here, seeing the people, talking to them in person. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, so we can do some reflections on, how to feel connected even if people are not present. So sometimes when you are in your apartment or in your room, in your house, we think we are alone. Now maybe just visualize like all the walls disappear. All the mountains disappear, all the houses, like all the visual hindrances would disappear. And what we call this earth becomes flat like a huge stage. All living beings are on this stage. Try to visualize it and then just watch what's going on. Emotion-wise. We are never alone. That's just an illusion. It's our ego who makes the separation, me and them. Nobody likes me. And now we look around, all these beings who also have a difficult time during these 2.5 years. And we shouldn't forget, even before COVID, life was difficult. We tend to forget it. Samsara. So we look around. We see all these people. And we think, gosh, I am just a tiny, 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 tiny particle amongst all these beings. And then again, don't make any intellectual conclusions. Just watch your heart when you start to realize this. I'm not the only one. So many beings, even if we just think about humans, if you then also think about animals, insects, fish, birds, maybe beings we can't even see. And we think we're the center of the universe and separate from all these beings. But we all want the same thing. We don't want to suffer and we want to be happy. It's as simple as that. It's okay. Don't let yourself be distracted by the baby. The babies are like this. For this little baby, everything is a struggle. It's really difficult. You can hear it. But he's being well cared about. So we don't need to get involved in this. And the baby is definitely not disturbed. If you feel disturbed, then that's your own fault. How can you be disturbed? By seeing a baby struggling to feel comfortable. It's so difficult. So now we feel our own wish. We feel our own wish for happiness. And really connect to that. There's nothing wrong wanting to be happy. Because that will be the nature of our mind when it's open and spacious. And it's constantly calling. But then again, in order to have not to be so self-important and self-centered and concentrating on our misery, we think I'm not the only one. If we allow this sentence if we really realize what it means, I am not the only one. It's almost magic. It becomes so much more spacious. And spaciousness is the nature of our mind. It's just that we limit ourselves, because we don't realize. We're not in touch with that spaciousness. And then it's I, me, for me, constantly. Doesn't help us, it doesn't help others, makes us feel more miserable. Now don't judge yourself in case you are going that way. It's okay, we all do it. I am not the only one wanting happiness and not wanting to suffer. And then we do some loving kindness. We use words, sentences. And you can be very creative there. So I'll give you a few. First, we do it for ourselves, because if we want to create or generate compassion for others, we have to know how to be compassionate to ourselves, not self-pity. But compassion. And a big part of compassion for ourselves is, I am not the only one. Shared humanity. So our suffering gets some space, doesn't overwhelm us. But it's good to start with yourself by thinking, may I be safe? Yeah, I just moved the microphone because it tends to slide down a bit, but it's okay. I can move it again. You know, I don't need to get disturbed. Okay, so we try again. Just this one sentence. May I be safe? Taste it. We all have a wish for security. There is no security in samsara, we know that, but we leave it aside for the moment and just a wish. May I be safe? May I be protected from physical and mental harm. You know, don't go into thinking how and why, but I'm not. Just a wish. So powerful. Loving kindness, metta. May I be protected from physical and mental harm. May I be strong, healthy, free from unreasonable fears, loving and peaceful. And may I be able to live my life with joy and ease. There's always something we can be joyful about. We have to look. We have to train to find it. And all these pressures we put on ourselves to be perfect, not to make mistakes. It's no point. I'll be able to live my life with joy and ease. So try to see where you are putting pressure on yourself, where it's absolutely not necessary. let go. You're not perfect. Nobody is. It's fine. Okay. Then we go back to that stage where everybody else, all living beings are on that stage. And you think, may all beings be safe. May all beings be protected from physical and mental harm. Don't pick out some and leave others behind. It's all beings. It's very simple. You see, this whole thing about bodhicitta is very simple, or metta, or karuna. It's all beings. We don't have to choose. We don't have to think. Everybody should be protected from physical and mental harm. All beings be strong, healthy, free from fear, loving and peaceful. Really think, all beings. And may all beings be able to live their lives with joy and ease, and to give their lives some meaning also. Okay. So then it won't last much longer, so maybe 10 more minutes. So then think about the food that you brought along to create the connectedness. You can also take, I don't know, your shoes or your socks or whatever, but food, because that's the thing that we really need to survive and that we're probably most attached to. So food is somewhere and you go, this is my food. Or maybe you put it there, somewhere and you can't find it. My food is gone. Big disaster. As if we're going to die because we can't eat lunch. So much fear. I can see some of you smiling. This is the right attitude, okay? We see how foolish we are, but this is how we would be. Who took my food? My food. And how much were you involved to make that food? So maybe first we think about the container. You brought your food in a container. But just try to imagine how many beings are involved in making this container. I leave you a little while. Then, because it's springtime and there's a lot of flowers in the fields, you think you are offering some flowers that I have on my table also to these beings who made that container. And you say thank you. Because thanks to you, I can transport my food. Really visualize it. Offering them a bunch of flowers. Maybe if it's men, they don't like flowers so much, but I don't know, then be creative. What would you give a man? Maybe a nice pita bread full of falafel. I don't know. But at least with an open heart, understanding, without you doing your job properly, I could not transport my food. Then you look inside your container. How much of these vegetables were you involved growing? Hopefully not so many, because it's not harvest time, is it, at the moment? So again, just think, probably thousands of people with, looking after the crops, kind of caring about them, and harvesting it, transporting it, packaging it, putting it in the shop. There's no end. I tell you, you need a lot of bunches of flowers to say thank you to all these people. I try to pick out a few. The lady in the supermarket, that her face, usually we don't care about so much. If you do, wonderful. Don't get upset now, telling me I do care about her. Okay? And say thank you, giving her the flowers. It's not just vegetables, maybe it's bread, Again, thousands of people involved for you to be able to eat a piece of bread. Don't feel guilty, okay? You deserve it. You bought it. You paid for it. It's fine. Just say thank you. And so we feel connected to these people that we totally depend upon. And you see, this meditation will have no end, actually. Because you came here. Why were you able to come here? Because of transport, public or your own car or whatever. How many beings have to work properly in an intelligent way to make a car? Again, you go to the field, you pick some flowers, and you offer it to them. And saying thank you. It's cold outside. Can you imagine how you would be without your clothes at the moment? Touch your clothes. They're not self-arisen. We call them mine. They're not yours. You just bought them, but you didn't make them. Again, so many beings, especially I have a woolly sweater, it comes from sheep. So see these sheep who give their wool for us. Say thank you. They will love the flowers, they will eat them. It doesn't matter. We are connected to all these beings, even if we sit for 2 years alone in a room and somebody just puts the food in front of our door. And then now you just check your heart, the center of your upper body. How do you feel? Just be with it, just check. And now, because most of you have a spiritual practice, think about your gurus. Maybe some of you saw His Holiness the Dalai Lama this morning, that after 2.5 years, the first time he was out again, you should have seen the faces of the Tibetans. It was totally packed. For those who know how it looks, put yourself there. Shoving, fighting for the space. Difficult to get in because there's so many people and the Tibetans are so pushy. Everybody is happy because of the qualities of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who's sharing his wisdom with us. Who this morning made another promise that he will stay another decade or even more. And he would help as much as he can. For those people who have a guru, or you have connection with the Dalai Lama, now check your heart. How can you feel lonely, abandoned, not being cared for? Just forget. The Buddhas, the Gurus are always there. We just have to remember them. So for them, a huge bunch of flowers. Because it's thanks to them. And I'm talking about myself. They were kind of so skillful to inspire a thick mind like mine to apply these practices. Well, not so easy. I've read Buddhist books before I met gurus. I never done anything. I only started practicing after having met the gurus. And I tell you, the guru is always there. You just have to think of him or her. And now you check your heart. And you say, thank you. And now we become the giver. We receive so many methods how to deal with difficult situations. Of course, they're not working immediately because we don't apply them very often. To give meaning to our life, I have received these methods from my inspiring gurus. May I be able to inspire others to practice ethical conduct, concentration and wisdom, or kindness or compassion, whatever. The same way as I was inspired by my gurus, may I, through this practice, be able to inspire and guide others to a state that we can all attain, which is free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And then again, you check, what does it do to me when I think like this? Purpose of my practice is so that whoever hears me, sees me, touches me, thinks about me, talks about me, talks to me, may it only be of benefit to them. Don't worry how. Just generate the motivation. Whoever hears me, sees me, touches me, talks to me, talks about me, may it only be of benefit to them. So how do you feel? Well, these two ladies were busy, so you see, as a baby, we don't even appreciate that so many beings are just there for us. So like, these two ladies are like our gurus, and we're the baby, we don't notice. Yeah, okay, they give us some teaching, tell us, like, yeah, but they're there for us all the time, same as mom or the dad or the auntie, friend, auntie. In India, you'd be the auntie. All the friends are aunties. So it's like, So like the baby was never alone also because mom and dad, mentally, physically, emotionally, all the time there. Is it so, Abhi? Yes. Is it difficult? Is it joyful? Yeah, there we go. So you see, it's like, this is what we're trying to do. Like, we know when we look at people like this, or Giddy, he came alone, he left his baby at home because the baby's so tiny. Yeah, so, but mentally he's there. What happened when you hear, I don't even know, it's a girl, yeah? Huh? Check it. So when you hear her, what happens in your heart? You have to talk loud.
Many things.
Many things.
One thing I was very happy. Then I was wondering, how old is she? When Michal said, it's too small, we can't bring it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same age.
Yeah.
Now I'm relaxed.
Okay.
That time is over.
Yeah. Now you bring it then in September then. You bring him. Right. So you're always welcome to bring your babies when I'm teaching, really, even they make sounds, not noise, they make sounds, okay? And because it opens the heart. And so the same emotions that we have, we'll spend the rest of the day crying probably. So the same open heart that we have for a baby, would not even the slightest wish to harm it, even if it starts to smell bad because it made caca or vomits or whatever. Even you hold the baby, if the baby vomits on your favorite sweater, you're not going, why did you do this? what you do with your drunk friend when he comes home totally drunk, it's kind of, with these kinds of emotions, we have to take them and to allow them, for us to allow it to feel for everybody that we need. And we have the capacity to do that. It's just that at the moment this capacity is very limited. So we have to train it. Yeah. So that's what the practice is for. But then you also need to know about emptiness. So this is the compassion side, but also about emptiness. Nothing is as solid as it appears. And it's just a projection of the mind so that we're not getting totally immersed in the suffering of others when we start to look. Because also, you see, I am sitting here, I hear the struggle of the baby, but it's okay. I want the baby to be comfortable, but I'm not rushing there because I know that the baby's being cared for. Because I'm not very good with small beings like this. I'm afraid of breaking them. And it's what I find very frustrating in Israel. It's like I can't talk to the kids. They don't understand me. So then Leora Price's daughter, one of them is in Paris, and she was here just before I came, and I thought, great. At least I can talk to one Israeli kid and he will understand me because I can talk to him in French. She left before I came. No communication with Israeli children yet. So I have to wait until they're kind of teenies and they start to speak English a little bit. Because it's interesting to communicate with children that don't know you and I don't know them. Because sometimes they're very nice and very good ideas also. Sometimes they're impossible also, as you say. Yeah. So this is what we're trying to do, to have this open heart that comes and to feel the joy of it. And for that, when we do these kind of reflections, it's really important that you familiarize yourself with the feeling of it, that the sensation of it. And this is neuroscience, which I'm not very good. I just repeat what I hear, but it sounds great. It's like when we stay with these good feelings, open feelings, spacious feelings, the neurons, something, they wire with each other. Is it the neurons that wire? Oh, lucky. So the neurons that wire. So these wiring can, they fire and then they wire. Like it becomes habit. The same way as very often we have a habit of only seeing the negative things and only seeing what doesn't go well. This can be changed. And we have to have this trust, this confidence that we can change it because it takes a long time. And we have to keep at it. We have to do it again and again and again. And this is what the Sangha is for. This is what you do in groups, right? And this is why we need groups. I'm talking about firing and wiring and not having too many religious things when you do these practices. Israel again won the first prize, not the Nobel Prize, but the first prize with the 16 guidelines. The Israeli group has produced, in the shortest time, the most facilitators of all other countries. Because I think, how many? 25.
25.
When 16 guidelines is a method that is a Buddhist method how to produce positive mind states, but with the religion aside. It's very much what His Holiness the Dalai Lama wants. Yeah, it's like that. It's accessible to everybody. That you don't have to say, "Oh no, I'm Muslim, so sorry, I can't use this Losang Tong stuff." So all the words that sound religious are taken away. The methods are still the same. So for a Buddhist, it's actually quite difficult to teach it. This is why I said I can't teach it, because I always bring Buddhism in, and I'm so fascinated by Buddhism, and I am totally biased. For me, Buddhism is the best. It doesn't need to be for others, but for me it is. So then I said, no, sorry, I can't teach this. Also, I come like this. It's kind of and it's done in different levels. It can be done for children. It can be done for teenagers. It can be done for grown-ups. So if you are interested in this, so you can approach David maybe, because they have groups where they meet these facilitators, and they need to train on people also. So then you can approach him.
And Tommy too.
And Tommy as well, yes, of course, Tommy Horowitz. So, because I think this is so necessary in society. And of course, there's always this whole, even if it's scientific and all this, not everybody's interested. Not everybody is interested in having a good heart. One asks oneself why, but it's like, that's just the way it is, because also there's a lot of pressure on, you have to fight for your diploma and for your status and to be somebody, and this becomes more important. So you can have very wise people like the Dalai Lama and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who tells the children. I remember a talk that the Zopa Rinpoche gave for the kids in the Maitreya school in Bodhgaya. It's a school that was made, I was there when it started, 5 children, from maybe 6 to 12, all in the same class. Kids who had never had any teachings. Maybe Uti remembers, I don't know. In the garden of the clinic, one blackboard, one teacher, all sitting outside on the ground. That was the first class. And then next year was 2 classes, then 3, then for now they have like 500 kids or something like that. So first it was meant for poor children. Then they thought, it's not so good, because then again we make the group of poor children who go to this good school. So they started to kind of to integrate also kids from the society that could pay. They had to pay, but because it's a good school, so that the kids would mix. So creating this, poor society, the rich society, and so it's very successful. So and they teach these methods also. This is what's his name? The Italian Valentino Giacomini was Alice Project in Sarno, who made, especially long time ago, like 40 years ago, he made this book about how to teach emptiness with the wool, the sweater. And then you open it up again, and then you knit again, and like this. So it's like it's a wonderful book. It's called Alice's Project, Alice in Wonderland. Okay, do you know it? The two of you? No, behind there, Noah and no. Okay. So anyway, Lama Zopa Rinpoche gave a talk to them. They, every year, they're very creative also to school. They learn music and they learn, dance and theater. And once a year, it's the big performance. And also when you come into the school, which is very interesting, it's not secular, because all religions are allowed. So each religion has his altar when you come in one corner, which is in a way secular, but without shutting out the religion. Okay. So he said to the kids, he said, I know that you are here because you want to have a good education, because you understand you can have a good job and earn a lot of money. But I tell you one thing, earning a lot of money is a good thing, because now most of them are very poor, and that's definitely not a good thing. And then he said, but it's also important to have a good heart. Because if you have a good heart, even you don't have a good job, you'll still be okay. If you don't have a good heart, even you have a good job, you might not be okay, And he said, you have a good heart, at least in your family, you'll be safe and you'll be happy. You won't be rich, maybe, and all this. Even you have a lot of money, maybe in your family, you will not be happy and you will not feel safe. And we all know that. Yeah. Maybe you have experienced it yourself. Mom, dad dies. There's a lot of money around. There's, inherit. Where are the lawyers? Bring the lawyers in so that. So most of the money goes for the lawyers. I mean, I hear these stories. It's not always like that, but very often it's like that. So in your mind, if your parents are still alive, make a promise. When my parents die, we will not fight. Even if my brother takes everything, let him have it. What? I see people nodding now. I'll come and talk to you when your parents have died. Okay? So it's like, this thing is like, hey, come on, it's your parents' money. It's yours. Why do children think it's their money? Your parents want to give it away. My mom spent it all. It's for good on her. So we didn't have to fight over anything. No problem. Yeah. You're old enough, you can own your own. Anyway, I didn't want to go there, but still. So the good heart. The good heart is really important, and this is what these 16 guidelines are kind of making publicity, promoting it. Usually a good heart is not being promoted in our society. So this is, in the middle of that program is the good heart. Or His Holiness the Dalai Lama also, there's another system which you might know, it's called C learning, which should go to schools, but the schools say we already have our system, blah, blah, blah. So it's SEE, so it's about social, ethical, and emotional competence. And you know how this program starts? With the kids learning to look after their own emotions before they start to develop compassion. It's so important. And His Holiness is the patron of this C learning thing. And slowly, it's like psychologists, universities, and like this. So there is hope. I mean, the methods will be there, but it still needs karma to be interested in it. So don't force it. If these 25 facilitators will be without a job, at least you have facilitators. So if the interest is there, then you can do. Because it's quite strict, not every, because you could just take the book and read it, and it makes so much sense. It's so logical. And then go, oh, this is easy. I can teach this. But no, the program does not allow it, which I think is a good thing. You have to go through 3 courses, so that you have to first show your own emotional competence, that you are living this, and this is why they meet all the time to train and exchange. It's a bit like supervising each other. And so you can trust it. That not just anybody goes off and starts teaching it and earning a lot of money with it. Okay. So this is what we're trying to promote. So how did you feel after this connecting kind of meditation? Do you think it would be useful when you feel lonely? Needs only saying yes. Of course you never feel. Do you ever feel lonely? Oh, sometimes. You see, this also, it's kind of, my fantasy is so vivid, and all the time. It's like, during the COVID, when I was alone and I wasn't doing so much on Zoom yet, I went for long walks. And I went through all, the good situations I had in the past, but not with, oh, I don't have it anymore, but with joy. And oh, such a good life, even though I was an alcoholic and drinking and I was a horrible person for quite a number of years in my life. Still, it's like, I had so many friends and it was so wonderful. Try to hang around a little bit in these past situations, but with gratitude and not with, oh, I can't do this anymore. So you have to, especially in situations like that, and it's not so easy to be happy because your tools and your methods to entertain yourself and to distract yourself are taken away, right? Like especially for young people, no more parties, no more shopping, no more this, no more that, no more going to see grandma and grandpa, or if you are grandma and grandpa, the kids cannot come to see me. So if your grandchildren are the center of your life, it's difficult when they can't come anymore. So then, try to find ways that you can sustain yourself and survive with a happy and joyful mind while this is lasting. Okay, so maybe we share some of these methods in the afternoon. Now I would say let's make another coffee break, okay? 10 minutes pee break, because this is all about Tonglen, and then we start to do Tonglen. Not teaching, but as we just did the reflection also again in a reflective way. Is that okay? I'm asking you, is that okay for you? Even you say no, I'm still going to do it. But I'm so Swiss, it's like you polite. So you're hoping that everybody is nodding, yeah? So is that okay for you? So I'm hoping that they're nodding. When they say, no, it's not okay, then you don't know what to do. I know. So then another thing, please, never lose your humor. So when you can, when you start to watch your own mind, at the beginning you might be shocked because it's really terrible. But with time, you're able to laugh about it and you're able to talk about it. And then you don't even need an audience anymore. At the beginning, you need an audience because then, they laugh, and then you have what's it called, mirror neurons. So I'll make some promotion for you. You know that Gigi is writing wonderful articles about science and Buddhism in Haaretz. So we have a very famous person sitting here. So maybe you should start to, I know you don't like to teach also. Yeah, but teaching like I do, you're not just sitting here and going blah, blah, okay? So, doing things like this in the future, that's fine for me, but not on the formal stuff. So then, also take science and then when you talk about your shortcomings, but not in a kind of, oh, I'm so bad kind of thing, but just say, wow, imagine what again happened. And just saw my mind. And it was Keshe Rabke who taught me that, also in Bogaya, because I was accompanying him downstairs after the talk. And you know how it is in India with the talk, there's lots of shoes outside. So he's trying to find his shoes. And he burst out laughing. He couldn't find them. He burst out laughing all of a sudden. And I said, Keshe, what is it? And he says, I saw it. I said, what? He said, my self-cherishing mind who said, who took my shoes? So that's the first step. With the food also. You don't find your food because maybe you forgot where you put it. Who took it? You don't find your shoes. Who took them? You drop something in your house and you don't notice it's broken. Who broke it? Isn't it? Sorry, it didn't happen to you. Yes. So great. Yeah, so then that's what it, in the spot we have to see it and think of like, oh my gosh, I saw it. I saw you liar, instead of just saying, oh, good thing it didn't break completely, instead of looking for somebody else to blame, we say, where are the shoes? And you keep looking. But he was, and this is where I learned from him. I mean, he's a high Geshe, he was the abbot of Namgyal Monastery at that time in Bulgaria. To be able to talk to a little nun like me, I mean, little also in size, but also old and not so advanced, to bear his self-cherishing mind to me, to admit that he had this thought. I thought, wow, so inspired. This is what I find so inspiring in those masters. They're not putting on habits. They're just, they tell us where also they have problems like that. Yeah. Okay, so we make this 10-minute pee break. Please make it, or you can stand up and talk to each other, even in the go-kart, not in silence. Whatever you want to do, feel free and be happy. I was in Tel Aviv yesterday. It was such a happy atmosphere. It was warm, the sun was shining, everybody was in costumes, me also. I didn't feel so strange. And everybody was so happy. Wow, if we could have Purim every day. And that we don't need the sun, we don't need a costume, we don't need this and that. that we could go out of the house and think, may I make somebody happy? Yeah. So, okay, let's have this 10 minutes break. Thank you.
הייתי רוצה להירשם